What's going on, guys? It's Fight Season MMA, and today I want to do a video talking about, is Alexander Volkanovski's career over? He just lost to Islam Makhachev at UFC 294 by brutal head kick knockout, and he lost to Ilia Topuria at UFC 298 by an incredible right overhand right to the jaw that sent Volkanovski flying. But Volkanovski is one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time. He's my UFC featherweight GOAT, and I think that he has had one of the most impressive title reigns inside the UFC that I have ever seen within the organization. But how can he revitalize his career? Is his career done? When is he going to return to the octagon? And what moves could he possibly make to revitalize his career? Does he just have to fight again at featherweight? Does he have to move up to lightweight, or does he have to cut down to 135? I want to talk about that possible decision. But before we jump into the video, please go leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and please help the channel grow to 1,000 subscribers very, very soon. That would be absolutely amazing for your guys' support to go down there and hit the subscribe button if you guys enjoy the content. But let's jump into the video talking about how Alexander Volkanovski can help his career, or is his career truly done? As we all know, as I pointed out in my intro, Alexander Volkanovski fought at UFC 294 and UFC 298, where he got knocked out by Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria in back-to-back fights. As we all know, Alexander Volkanovski is one of the most active fighters inside the UFC organization. If we go back to the numbers since he's fought at UFC 298, 294, 290, 284, 276, which was versus Max Holloway, 273, which was versus the Korean Zombie. Those are some absolutely crazy statistics for Alexander Volkanovski to be fighting at. In his last featherweight title defense, in which he won versus Yair Rodriguez, he looked absolutely amazing in that fight, showing that vintage Alexander Volkanovski was still in the tank. But after getting knocked out twice, everyone has been questioning, is Volkanovski going to still have the ability to truly go out there and win and try to get the absolute title, get the UFC featherweight title back? But should Volkanovski stay at featherweight? Should he move up, or what should he do? And I think right now, Volkanovski is going to have to fight some fighters who don't have the punching power of an Ilia Topuria. So I think a Josh Emmett would be off the board, because I think one punch by Josh Emmett could possibly knock out Alexander Volkanovski. Rather, I think Volkanovski should fight maybe the winner of Movsar Evloev and Aljamain Sterling. He should maybe fight an Arnold Allen, which would be a harder fight, or someone in that regards in category, and maybe the winner of Diego Lopez and Brian Ortega, if Ortega's not moving up. Someone like that, I think, would be a great fight for Alexander Volkanovski, but I do think that he should avoid someone down low in the rankings, like a Josh Emmett, someone who is a power puncher, because Alexander Volkanovski's chin isn't the greatest. Now, the second thing that he really needs to do is what he's doing right now, and that is taking some time for himself, spend some time with his daughters, his wife, and enjoy life, not working inside the UFC. And now, I know Volkanovski was talking about, after his UFC 294 interview, that he was having depression and that he was having a bunch of different things, which is super commendable of one of the best athletes in the world, talking about how he has struggles like a bunch of us human beings who are thought of as regular. But Alexander Volkanovski is a regular guy too, and he struggles with the exact same things. But getting in there in a fight just to solve that is never a good option, because you're putting yourself at unnatural risks, especially coming back that early to face someone who is as hungry as Ilia Topuria and as good of a well-rounded mixed martial artist. So I think that Alexander Volkanovski could return sometime, maybe at UFC 310, or if I was that, return in March of 2025 to give him a very good layoff, because even though you might not be fighting until, let's say, UFC 310 in December, you still have to be training, and that's extra time getting hit in the head and doing stuff like that. So I think that Alexander Volkanovski should return in either February of 2025 or March of 2025 to give him adequate time to possibly, do that. And do I think he should move up to 155? And I think the answer is no. I think those guys hit too hard up there. And I think Alexander Volkanovski's chin was never the greatest. And I think only after these fights with Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria, it just fully solidifies his chin wasn't the best and is now not even close to where it was. Could you imagine a fight between Alexander Volkanovski and Justin Gaethje? You look at how hard Justin Gaethje hits, and that man would send Volkanovski to the moon. And Ilia Topuria knocking him out, I think Justin Gaethje has about the same power as Ilia Topuria, But the difference is that Gaethje's a bigger individual, so I think that Volkanovski is going to have more trouble with someone like Gaethje than Topuria. I think Topuria is one of the hardest hitting featherweights currently in the UFC, but Justin Gaethje, maybe being one of the hardest hitting lightweights, still possesses the power of someone like Ilya. And you look at that top 5, top 10 of that lightweight division, and you got some absolute hard-hitting guys up there. Even if you go down to, like, say, I don't know what ranking Dan Hooker is, but Dan Hooker hits like a truck. You look at someone like Dustin Poirier, hits like a truck. Michael Chandler hits like a truck. Charles Oliveira hits like a truck. All these guys up there at 155 hit so hard. So I think that Alexander Volkanovski should stay at 145, and 135 isn't an option because I don't think that Alexander Volkanovski could even make that weight. But I do think that Alexander Volkanovski taking the proper time just to relax and be able to understand that fighting is okay. It's his lifestyle and it's everything he does. He's had an amazing streak, but to go get back on the win column, maybe against Arnold Allen, maybe against the winner of Brian Ortega, Diego Lopez, and to show that he's still got this in the bag. Now, Alexander Volkanovski could fight lower in the rankings. There's someone like Lerone Murphy versus Dan Ige. The winner of that could possibly be a fight for Alexander Volkanovski, and that would just be something to get Volkanovski's confidence up to keep him in in the octagon. But considering who Volkanovski has lost to in he's lost 3 of his last 4 fights. 2 of those have been to the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the UFC. The one person he beat was Yair Rodriguez, which was in dominant fashion, and Ilya Topuria, he got clipped once. So I don't think that that's really a thing. His confidence shouldn't be low, but I do think that Alexander Volkanovski just does need to take his time getting back into the octagon and just to train, let his chin and head relax, and truly just understand that fighting isn't or shouldn't be happening all the time. I commend him so much in that hole in some of those New Zealand and Australian fighters like Israel Adesanya when he was fighting and defending the title 3 or 4 times a year, and Alexander Volkanovski doing the same, and that was truly amazing. But you got to be able to realize that you got to protect your chin. The more fights you're in, the more shots you're going to absorb. The more training camps, the more shots you're going to absorb, and the more wear and tear you're going to put on your body. And since Alexander Volkanovski is taking that rest, and if he fights someone who's not a massive power puncher, I think Alexander Volkanovski's career will be just fine. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fights is MMA, and please let me know what you think about Alexander Volkanovski returning sometime next year. Do you think he should return earlier, later? Should he return at International Fight Week 2025? What do you guys think down below? I love to hear what you guys like to say. I love to hear what your opinions is and your breakdowns are on your own, because everyone has an opinion, and I just make content to get mine out there for you guys to hear and to communicate with. But I think Alexander Volkanovski still got it. I think he's one of the greatest mixed martial artists for a reason, and I think in his next fight, he's going to show that. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fights at MMA, and please go down there and hit the subscribe button. It will help so much on helping us reach 1,000 subscribers coming very soon. And please, while you're down there, turn on the post notifications, leave a like, and comment on these videos, because that is also a major thing too if you guys enjoy the content. But I will see you guys very, very soon with more UFC content and news coming daily, and you guys know that, and thank you guys so much for watching.